Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. It's always remarkable when the Torah portion of the week mirrors what is going on in your day-to-day life. And it just hits you that it's obvious. This is exactly what was happening 3,500 or 4,000 years ago. It's happening right now. And that happened to me this week. So I was honored to jump on a flight to George to do the funeral in Plet of Leon Cohen. A remarkable man in his 90s and still fighting for a better world, someone who, together with captains of industry, changed South Africa in his lifetime, and then in the 1990s became involved with the ANC and was in Mandela's, as an MP in Mandela's first parliamentary group in 1994, and then went on to be politically involved for most of his life, going back into the business world afterwards. And then when he retired to Neisner, getting involved in the local community where he saw that the schools, the local schools, were failing. And together with Jill Marcus, who was a neighbor, they got together some substantial donors and they started to recruit and hire teachers for the 17 schools in the Neisner area. And it was amazing to hear at his Shiva prayers just how much this person, this single person, had done to create change in the world. So what's parallel with the Torah portion? Well, Vayechi, remarkably, as I was sitting with his sons and grandsons, marking the passing of this patriarch of the family, so we are reading this week about Jacob, the patriarch of the family, coming to the end of his life. Vayechi talks about him gathering his sons and his grandsons and giving them blessings before he dies. And the responsibility of leadership moves from his generation to the next generation. There is something that gives us cause for pause in the Torah portion. The moment that Jacob calls for Joseph's sons to give them a blessing. So he's blessing all of his sons, and now he's blessing Joseph's sons, Joseph the favorite, Menasheh and Ephraim. And for those of you who know the parasha well, you'll know that he lays his hands ready for the blessing on the shoulders of the children, Menasheh and Ephraim. And then what he does is he swaps the hands. So the right hand, which is the hand of strength, instead of being on the firstborn, Menasheh, ends up on the shoulder of Ephraim. And he blesses the two, Ephraim and Menasheh, second-born, firstborn, with a blessing that even today many families use on Friday nights when they say, Yesimcha Elohim Ephraim v'chim Menasheh. May God make you like Ephraim and Menasheh, even though Menasheh was the firstborn. So why is this cause for pause? Because we know that right through the story of Genesis, right through the book of Genesis, we've seen in different ways and different shapes the parents' interference in the lives of their children causing tumult. Abraham and Sarah with Hagar and Ishmael, Isaac and Ishmael, then Isaac with Esau and Jacob, then Jacob with Joseph. And now, Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Menasheh, Jacob is continuing to shake up the way that the family should see itself. On the one side, we can say that what the Torah tells us is that these norms of society, that the eldest should automatically be the one who inherits the responsibility and the birthright, should be questioned. Not always in every family is the eldest the right person to take over the legacy of the parents or grandparents. Sometimes it's another sibling. Sometimes they need to cooperate and collaborate together. In biblical times, certainly it was the male inheritor, and maybe there was the opportunity to think beyond that. So on the one hand, maybe what Jacob was reminding us of is that these societal norms are not necessarily the right things that we need for a family. On the flip side, one might say that the book of Genesis is a story of family trauma. The generations from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to Joseph, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah to Joseph's generation is a constant upheaval of a family, which in the book of Exodus leads to 400 years of slavery. So maybe the flip side of what I said earlier is that it could be that the Torah is telling us, it's almost like my mother always used to shout at the TV when characters were doing stupid things. Don't go into that room, he has a gun, you idiot. And we would explain, well, they can't hear you. But she would still try to speak to the characters. And sometimes you want to say to the Torah characters, you want to say, Jacob, what are you doing? Just leave them alone. Let them be. Don't mess with it, because it didn't go well for Joseph and the dream coat, did it? So there's two possibilities that we can take away this evening from Parashat Vayechi. On the one hand, we can say that each of us as individuals, what we inherit from our parents is what we need in order to flourish and make our way in the life that we lead. Whether we are first, second, third born, we need to find what it is that we have inherited from our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents that serves us in order to go further in our lives. On the other hand, we have an opportunity to question what it is that has happened in the cycles of the past that need to be broken. The world right now seems to be so stuck, and many of us might feel that same stuckness, not just because of global politics, but that could be within ourselves as well. It could be a relationship that we are struggling with that seems to go round and round with no end. It could be an addiction that we are struggling with that doesn't seem to have an end. All of these cycles call out to us to be broken. So whether you are holding the one or the other this Shabbat, may we reflect on the inheritance that we have gained from the ancestors that have come before us. May we have an opportunity to think about the cycles that need to be broken. And may we have a beautiful Shabbos ahead. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.